You're going live. And 3, 2. Oh, this one go dead too? Oh, no, it didn't. And we are live, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And by gosh, tonight we got a great show for you with my great host or co-host, David Null, Hawkeye Two Feathers.
Greetings and blessings, y'all. Thanks for showing up. And it's nighttime for most of us, but it's a good day in the Milky Way.
Absolutely. I see we got a few people piling in. We had Genevieve, who stopped in a little earlier. We got Susie Q in the house. We got David Castle, who's dropping by gosh. We gotta get together and do another show, David Castle. By gosh, we got I got another missing book here somewhere. I got the Idaho book now. It's the 411 Missing Idaho. That should be interesting. Plus, I got a map with it. I'm so proud of it. Anyway, tonight we are going to talk about the eagle. As you can see up in the picture up here, Eagle Night tonight. Birds, probably. I don't know. What do you got picked out? You got bird stories picked out tonight?
We'll see.
Oh boy, it's going to be a surprise. So we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the eagle. I don't even know where I'm going to start here. I got references of the eagle feathers. Let's see what I got. 2 of them in this book talking about stuff, but I think I'm going to start with the symbols of the eagle. And that should do okay, because we were practicing with the screen share. The symbol of the eagle. So tonight, we got this one come up this way, view. Why didn't I do view before? Read mode. There we go. That's better. We got the eagle symbol. And of course, they show the eagle, probably how we draw it nowadays, and the symbol that the Indians had. The Native American symbols, like the eagle symbol, can vary in meaning from one tribe to another and across the culture groups of North America. Discover facts and information about the meanings of secret and mysterious symbols used by Native American Indians and our list of symbols. Okay.
Mysterious.
Yeah, well, the United States has the eagle symbol, and Germany had the eagle symbol, and there's Rome had the eagle symbol. The eagle symbol's been used by a lot of countries and a lot of places. The meaning of the eagle symbol: Native American Indians were deeply spiritual people, and they communicated their history through thoughts and ideas, dreams of generation to generation through symbols and signs, such as the eagle symbol. Native American symbols are geometric portrayals of celestial bodies, natural phenomena, and animal designs. Native American bird and animal symbols and totems are believed to represent the physical form of the spirit helper and guide. The Native Americans considered the bald eagle and the golden eagle to be sacred. As eagles are the highest flying birds, they were seen to be nearer to the creator. Okay, I gotta go down. The eagle symbol mythology. Eagle myth, the Abenaki solar deity Kitsusen, meaning sunbringer, was symbolized as an eagle whose wings open to create the day and whose wings close to create the night. Wad Zuzen was the name of the spirit eagle that flapped his wings to create the wind. Pamola is a legendary bird spirit in the Abenaki mythology and legend, the god of thunder and protector of Mount Katahdin, the tallest mountain in Maine. This fearsome creature, the body of a man, the head of a moose, and the wings and feet of an eagle. Let's see. There were so many tribes of Native Americans, Indians, it is only possible to generalize the most common meaning of the eagle symbol or pattern. Native American Indian symbols are still used as tattoos and were used for a variety of reasons and depicted on numerous objects such as teepees, totem poles, musical instruments, and clothes. Indian tribes also use their own colors for symbols and designs, depending on the natural resources available to make Native American paint. Use symbols are as ideas and designs for American Indians. Native American Indians had a highly complex culture, especially those who lived on the Great Plains. The religion was dominated by rituals and belief in a spiritual connection with nature, and these beliefs were reflected as various symbols. You can see on that coat or cloth there how they drew right on there, Indians there, and the little dances they did, and the stars, and pretty neat. Reflected the various symbols they used, such as the eagle symbol. The clothes, teepees, and all of his belongings were decorated with art that includes symbols depicting his achievements, acts of heroism, his various spirit guides, or the most important event in his life. Every symbol used by an American Native Indian had meanings which can be accessed from symbols and meanings. The eagle symbol. There you go. There's the eagle symbol. Meaning, symbolism of the eagle symbol, picture meanings, da 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 da. Okay, moving right along here. Oh, come on, why doesn't this thing move? Okay, oh, I gotta move this thing. Pictures and videos of Native American others. Oh, that's okay. We're done with that one. No wonder why. That was the thing. Okay, I'm gonna end that share. And then, so I didn't know they had their own little symbol, to draw an eagle, though. That was something new to me.
Yeah, and there were variations on, depending, there were some tribes who considered, that the eagle was, the symbol was also of the thunderbird,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Let's see, I copied this down from somewhere. What does the eagle represent to the Indians? Imagine image results for the eagle and the Indian. Both bald eagle and golden eagle and their feathers are highly revered and considered sacred with American Indian traditions, cultures, and religions. They are honored with great care and shown the deepest respect. They represent honesty, truth, majesty, and majesty. I missed that tip on my tongue. Strength, courage, wisdom, and power, and freedom. Wow, those are all good things. Okay, I'm gonna shrink that, and then I got to go to the next one. Let's see, symbols. I did that. Warrior. Well, then we got this. The warrior and the eagle. This one's a little, ain't too terribly long. Okay. Long ago, the Delawares believed that if a brave could pluck a feather from the tail of a live eagle and wear that feather, he would not only always be brave and of great courage, but good fortune would always follow him. Therefore, young hunters used to try to catch eagles by putting pieces of wolf meat on high cliffs. Eagles being very fond of wolf meat. At one time, were they talking about real wolves? They killed a wolf to chop them up, and that's weird.
Yeah, well, it's better than getting eaten by the wolf.
I guess so. I didn't know eagles like to eat wolves, but
the eagles like red meat. It wouldn't matter, really.
I
rabbit up there, but
I guess so.
It might have absolutely something to do with the wolf and the catching of the eagle.
It could be. At one time, there was a young brave who was very reckless, ambitious, and daring. He wanted to get an eagle feather for his head dress and desired to pluck the feathers himself from live eagles. So he found a high place where the eagles often came and baited the place for a few days with wolf meat. Then he killed a large wolf. He took it to this place and hung a large piece of the flesh near the edge of the cliff. He then hid behind a big tree with a forked stick ready to capture an eagle. Presently, an eagle came to get the tempting morsel, but the young brave considered this eagle too small and drove it away. Soon another came, but this one also did not seem to suit the brave. He drove several others away, not being satisfied with the plumage of any of them. All at once he heard a flapping of heavy wings, and there alighted before him an eagle much larger than himself. This eagle, instead of looking like the others, had red feathers, as dyed in blood. This eagle did not take the wolf meat, but came straight to the brave, seized him in his talons, and carried him away to a high cliff, from which it was impossible to escape, except by jumping down, which would have been certain destruction. On the cliff was a large nest containing 4 young eagles. The large eagle left the brave in the nest and said to him, "You shall stay here and care for my young until they are large enough to carry you back to where I got you. I am the head chief of the eagles. Your greed and ambition have brought you to this. You were not satisfied with the plumage of the birds I sent you. Now you shall stay here and suffer for your greed, and perhaps when you return, you will be glad to take such feathers as we give them to you." There was nothing else for the young brave to do but stay and guard the young eagles, and this he did so well as to win the friendship and love of the young eagles as well as the old eagle, who occasionally came back to the nest, bringing in its talons a deer, rabbit, or other game. Finally, after the brave had been there many days and the young eagles had learned to fly, they would sometimes be away nearly all day and leave him alone. He would get very lonely and wonder if they were going to leave him to die of starvation or eat him up. Or whenever they were really meant to take him back, where the old eagle found him, he was not kept long in suspense, however, for one day the large eagle came back and said, "Now, my young friend, my grandchildren here shall carry you back to where I found you. I will go along to see that they do not drop you until you reach the place in safety." Accordingly, 2 of the young eagles seized the brave in their talons and flew toward the cliff where he had been tempting the eagles with wolf meat. It was not far from the nest, and they soon reached the place in safety. There the brave found some eagle feathers, which he was glad enough to take without plucking them from a live eagle, and he returned with them to his people. A lesson he learned from his adventure is that opportunities will finally cease to come if you continue to brush them aside, hoping for a better one. Well, how about that? All right. Well, I hope you all are enjoying this. I see we got a whole house full of people in now.
It could be said.
We got Brandy Robinson, Chloe's in the house, Elderberry, Max G, Project Skyfalls, Michelle Can-Am Free, Much Love Girl, and we got who else do we got? Oh, I don't know. I messed up here. I guess that's about it.
One could say that last story about the eagle was a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
Exactly.
I mean, take what's already there versus being greedy. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's a bird in the hand being eagle anyway.
Yeah. Well, and that's true. Be grateful for what you get and not want more. See, and that's the thing. People get greedy.
But also it's a reference to a bird.
Yes, it is. I see Delaney Pearl Jones is in the house, and Gaza Cav all the way from Australia. My gosh, you were right. See, we're not all in the evening. We're in the daylight too. Okay, so we got one more here that I got pulled up for us. I hope I can. Oops, I got too many pulled up. Okay. This one's short. The Eagle's Revenge, a Cherokee legend. Once a hunter in the mountains heard a noise at night like a rushing wind outside the cabin, and And on going out, he found that an eagle had just alighted on the dry pole and was tearing at the body of a deer hanging there. Without thinking of the danger, he shot the eagle. In the morning, he took the deer and started back to the settlement, where he told what he had done. And the chief set out some men to bring the eagle and arrange for an eagle dance. They brought back the dead eagle. Everything was made ready, and that night they started the dance in the town house. About midnight, there was a whooping outside, and a strange warrior came into the circle and began to recite his exploits. No one knew him, but they thought he had come from one of the farther Cherokee towns. He told how he had killed a man, and at the end of the story, he gave a hoarse yell. Hi! That startled the whole company, and one of the 7 men with the rattles fell over dead. He sang of another deed, and at the end straightened up with another loud yell. A second rattler fell dead, and the people were so full of fear that they could not stir from their places. Still he kept on, and in every pause there came again and a terrible scream, until at last of the 7 rattlers fell dead, and the stranger went out into the darkness. Long afterwards, they learned from the eagle killer that it was the brother of the eagle shot by the hunter. So there you go. So eagles are powerful. Their brothers will come back and get you. All right. That wasn't so funny. Little Linda Brooks is in the house. Thank you for coming. Lucky Smith, may favor rain upon you. Okay. Let's see. I think I got one more. We got lots of stuff on oh shoot, I did that wrong. Yeah, we got lots of stuff on eagles tonight. Oh, come on, make it big. Oh, that's too small. There we go. Oh, stop share. I hit the wrong button, man. Okay, this one and share. There we go.
The interesting thing I'd like to point out here, and you spoke about it earlier, is that, the Romans used the eagle, and different, cultures around the planet used the eagle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so that it wasn't just a Native American thing. But here's something I want to, before I forget, there's Rome and the Nazis, and one might consider maybe the American eagle on top of the, are we really free? Or were we set up under a Nazi regime from the old day? I mean, Roman, and then anyway.
Well, yeah, the Aztecs had it. All those tribes all the way in South America, there's got to be something, because most of those, how should I say, countries or tribes or whatever, cultures, that's the word I'm looking at. They either had the eagle or the dragon. Of course, there's the bear and the lion. I think those were like the 4 main ones. Either you got like a dragon or a snake, and then you have an eagle, and then there's this bear, and then there's a lion, and sometimes the lion has feathers.
And don't forget the wolf.
The wolf. Well, which country has the wolf?
Scandinavia, and the symbol of the wolf and the strength and the pack, and but they're depending on the culture, depended on which animal was more prevalent. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. I totally
My point about the eagle, though, is that it was Rome. Ooh, big Rome conquered the planet. Ooh, yeah. It's the Nazis who tried to take over the world. And then there are the American, then there are the Indian folk, then there are the indigenous peoples, and the eagle meant a whole lot more to them. They weren't out. Now, the Aztecs and some of them, that had the eagle, they were bloodthirsty. But the normal folk that just saw how proud the eagle was, and saw how the medicine of the eagle was for curing and helping, whereas those who used the eagle symbol to for courage and bravery and all that kind of stuff, but they were out to conquer. You know what I'm saying? It was their motivation for the use of the eagle.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
exactly.
the question that pops up in my head right now is that why Rome fell?
Could
Is
be.
that why the Nazis didn't make it? Because they tried to force the eagle, you know what I mean, to do the opposite of what eagle's supposed to be. You know, it was the misuse of eagle medicine that came back on them.
That I totally agree with. I totally agree with. You know, because they were looking at it as the thing, but really the symbol, like the Indians would say, like you said, the eagle medicine worked against them. You know, they used it to get on high, and then they wanted to go farther, and that's what their downfall was.
And it's sort of like, you know, in a lot of the stories, which are like parables in a way, but you know, all the animals that try to do too much, that creator always, you know, smucked them in the ass somehow, you know, and said, no, you ain't going to do that. We're not going to allow you to do that. Or, you know, so, but anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So here we got the Pueblo tribes. So this is like Southwest, because we did the Cherokees, and they are the northeastern kind of the eastern side. Yeah, I'd say more eastern.
Cherokee down here in Georgia.
Yes, yes, that's where they came from. Okay, among the Pueblo tribes, eagles are considered to be one of the 6 directional guardians associated with the upward direction, spirituality, and balance. The Zunis carve stone eagles' fetishes for protection, ascribe to them both healing and hunting powers, and the eagle dance is one of the most important traditional dances held by the Hopi and other Pueblo tribes. In mythology of some tribes, eagle plays a leadership role either as king of the birds or as a chief who human interact with it. In other legends, eagle serves as a messenger between humans and creator. The golden eagle, also known as war eagle, there you go with that war, is particularly associated with warriors and courage in battle. And it is golden eagle feathers that were earned by Plains Indian men as war honors and worn in their feather headdresses. In some tribes, this practice continues to this day, and eagle feathers are still given to soldiers returning from war or people who have achieved a great accomplishment. In some northern coast tribes, the floor used to be dusted with eagle down as potlatches and other ceremonies as a symbol of peace and hospitality. In many South American tribes, eagles are associated with the afterlife. Among the Ashkana of Peru, for example, I know I butchered that name. For example, eagles play a role of carrying deceased people's souls to the afterworld. Because eagles are considered such powerful medicine, the hunting or killing of eagles is restricted by many taboos. Eating eagle meat was forbidden in many tribes. In some legends, a person who eats eagle meat is transformed into a monster. In some Plains Indian tribes, feathers were required to be plucked from a live eagle so as to avoid killing them. To accomplish this, eagles were trapped in a net and released. In southeastern tribes, only men with special eagle medicine, known as the eagle killers, were permitted to kill eagles. In the Cherokee tribe, even eagle killers were only permitted to kill eagles during wintertime. Eagles also one of the most widespread clan animals used by Native American cultures. Tribes with eagle clans, including the Chippewa, whose bald eagle clan and its totem are called Mitzig. Migizigi. While Migizzi. I can't even pronounce it after I hear it. There, Migizzi. While the Golden Eagle clan, I'm glad you know all this stuff. While the Golden Eagle clan is called Giziwa. Ginziwa, something. The Hopi, whose eagle clan is called, oh God, I'm gonna butcher this.
Don't even try.
Kawangriman or Wangma. The Zuni, whose eagle clan name is Kaya Kaiwa, and other Pueblo tribes of New Mexico, plains tribes like the Caddo and Osage, and the North, I'll learn these someday, and northwestern coast tribes like the Hadai, the Kawaliu, or the Tismashan, and the Tlingit. I can say the Tlingit one. I know that one. We talked about that one many times. Eagle was an important clan crest on the northwest coast, and the eagle designs can often be found carved on totem poles, ceremonial staffs, and other traditional northwestern art. And many eastern tribes, such as the Cherokee, have an eagle dance among their tribal dance traditions. And I think that is it, believe it or not. All right. Well, we're learning stuff about eagle tonight. We do the eagle dance, eagle stories. Let's see if I got anything in here. Feathers and others. Next time. I didn't really have, there wasn't in all these stuff. There really wasn't much in the books. You know what I'm saying? I had to look up a lot of stuff online because there just wasn't much eagle stuff in these books, believe it or not. So, what do you think of all that?
I think I want to add something to it.
All right, you go right ahead. Floor is yours.
I can't share a page with you, but I will show everyone the book. And let's see if I can get it's called Animals Speak.
Animals Speak. Okay. All right.
And it's by the same Sun Bear group with the that I refer to with the medicine wheel. And so anyway, this is put out about different animal totems. And of course, one of the animal totems is the eagle. So I thought, since you were on eagle, I would read what it says about the eagle totem.
Mm-hmm. Eagle totem.
So I wish I could share the page, but there's a picture of the bald eagle. And so, eagle's cycle of power is all seasons and during daylight. The eagle is one of the greatest and most admired birds of prey. It has served as inspiration to many societies. That's what we were just talking about. Their ability to soar and hunt amazes and thrills those who witness. Eagles, in fact, are so good at getting food that they spend very little time hunting. The fact that they are good at feeding themselves from the land and still soar to great heights in the sky reflects much about the hidden significance of the eagle who comes as a totem. They will teach a balance of being of the earth, but not in it. Every society which has had contact with eagles has developed a mythology and or mysticism about them. In the ancient Aztec tradition, the chief god told the people to settle at a place where they find an eagle perched on a cactus eating a snake. This place would become Mexico City. The eagle was sacred to Zeus, who often changed into the form of an eagle to help himself control thunder and lightning. The Sumerians worshipped an eagle god, and the Hittites used a double-headed eagle as a symbolic emblem so they would never be surprised. The eagle has also been associated with Jupiter, and it was a strong emblem for the Roman Empire. The Egyptian hieroglyphics, the eagle is a symbol for the vowel A, and also a symbol for the soul, the spirit, and the warmth of life. In early Christian mysticism, the eagle was a symbol of resurrection. Now, I had not heard that. The thunderbird to the Native Americans is most often depicted in the form of an eagle. This was the great spirit who controlled lightning and rain, punishment and reward. To the Plains Cree, all eagles had mystical power, and these powers could be shared by anyone who possessed part of the bird. To the Pueblo Indians, the eagle was a bird of the sky with the ability to spiral upward until it passed through a hole in the sky to the home of the sun. It was associated with all the energies of the sun, physical and spiritual. The Pueblo Indians honored 6 directions: north, south, east, west, zenith above, and nadir below. The eagle was a symbol of the zenith because of its ability to soar to great heights. From these heights, it could survey all 4 directions. They became symbols of greater sight and perception. To the Hopis, the golden and the bald eagles were the greatest of all the birds of the sky, but these are the only 2 eagles that live upon our continent. Some groups of Hopis also included the red-tailed hawk as an eagle, referring to it as the red eagle. And after I get done reading this little bit, I'll tell you about my experience with the hawk today. There are 59 species of eagle, and they are often divided into 4 categories: fish and sea eagles, and you could probably show a fish and sea eagle, snake eagles, harpy or giant forested eagles, and booted eagles. But there is always a great deal of variety within these 4 groups. When it comes to coloring and feather patterns, every eagle is unique and beautiful in its own way. Fish and sea eagles are those who live primarily upon a diet from the sea, fishes, etc. Upon the North American continent, the bald eagle is part of this category. Those who have a bald eagle as a totem need to look at the symbolic associations of water. Water and fish are often symbolic of the psychic aspects of life and the creative energies. Water is also an area that separates land from the heavens. Thus, a bird of the water, such as a fish or sea eagle, reflects an awakening ability or need to learn to walk between the worlds. Water is the creative source of life, and living near natural water sources may be important to the health of those who have bald eagle as a totem. An eagle hunting in the waters must be able to penetrate the waters, grasp what it requires, and then rise out of them. All of this reflects the increased ability and need to learn to work with emotions, psychicism, and all aspects of spirituality with greater control. It reflects teachings about true mediatorship, being able to enter and exit the more ethereal realms at will. Snake eagles often have crests of feathers upon their head. Their toes are short and strong to enable them to grasp and hold on to wiggling snakes. Those who have a snake eagle as a totem would do well to study the section on snakes within this text. The snake eagles swallow the snakes whole. I didn't know that. Reflecting the swallowing and digesting of higher wisdom, the serpent knowledge. The harpy eagles are the largest and most powerful. None of these are found upon our continent. They have huge claws and can be used for grabbing larger prey, including deer. An examination of the particular food preference of the individual harpy eagle will provide further insight. Other type of eagle found upon this continent is the golden eagle. It is part of the booted eagle group. Booted eagles, in general, usually have a majestic mantle of feathers on their head and neck, and their legs have a heavy covering of feathers so that they look as if they're wearing boots. The 2 that are most important to those upon this continent are the bald eagle and the golden. The bald eagle is larger than the golden, but it cannot fly as high, nor is it as considered as graceful. The bald eagle is larger than the golden, so it ain't near as graceful as the golden. The bald eagle is often a symbol of the feminine, while the golden symbolizes the masculine. The white feathers of the bald eagle, especially, are often treasured as they are links to grandmother medicine, tremendous wisdom, healing, and creation. The feathers of eagle are sacred to the Native Americans, and since the eagle is protected by the United States government, it is a felony for anyone to possess such who is not of Native American blood. The feathers, though, are used in powerful healing ceremonies, cleansing the aura, and even for shape-shifting. White and black tip feathers are often used on the mask of the Pueblo Indians to give the appearance of white and black clouds. Again, we see the ancient connection to the mysteries of the sky and all of its phenomena. Both the bald and golden eagle have come to symbolize heroic nobility and divine spirit. These eagles are the messengers from heaven and are the embodiment of the spirit of the sun. They are also symbols of the rediscovery of the inner child. There once was a belief that as old age approached, the eagle's eye would grow dim, and the eagle then would fly so near the sun that it would become scorched. It would then seek out a pure water source and dip itself 3 times into the clear water, and its youth would be destroyed. This reflects much from a mystical point of view. It hints of resurrection, but it also hints of alchemy. The fire of the sun and the clear water are opposite elements brought into harmony in a manner that elicits a change. Now, I thought that might just be interesting to tack on to your eagle information. Now I'm going to throw in hawk because, as it said, the red-tailed hawk was considered, you know, a red eagle. And so again, it's from the same book, and it's about hawk. But now my personal story, y'all know my Hawkeye Two Feathers. So me and Duggar were out, you know, perusing the ground that caught on fire at the backyard on Sunday. I started it, but you know, anyway. But as I'm going down the fence line, there's a hawk up in the sky that's just, she's just, you know, just getting it on, man. She's just screaming and hollering and squawking, you know, and I'm like, okay. So I got a video that I'll upload later on my channel, but where I'm walking along and talking about this, and then she circled around my head 3 or 4, at least 3 times, and I thought it was sort of like a fourth. I mean, right over my head, and I found the nest, and it's right on the property line, and right on the edge of where the water goes, where it's drier or wetter. But anyway, and she was just fussing at us because we were down near that tree. But anyway, so I'm going to read just a little bit about hawks, because it is a red-tailed hawk, eagle. Okay, so hawks are one of the most intriguing and mystical of the birds of prey. They are the messengers, the protectors, and the visionaries of the air. Hawks and owls have the keenest eyes of all raptors. Hawks vary in size and appearance and environments. There are also many different species that it is sometimes difficult to tell them apart. There are marsh hawks, forest hawks, sea hawks, and prairie hawks. The environment in which your hawk is found will tell you much about how its energies are likely to manifest within your life. Even when people cannot tell one hawk from another, they can recognize it is a member of the hawk family. All hawks are impressive and stir the imagination. Their hunting ability, their eyesight, and their powerful flights and other behaviors are dynamic symbols. In most raptors, the colors of the male and female of the same species are very similar. It is almost always the female who is larger, though. This has much to do with the fact that the mother guards the nest. Many hawks mate for life, the red-tailed hawk being one example. The length of time that mated birds stay together is often determined by the number of seasons they spend raising the young. Now, the hawk that circled around had been circling around this area. I didn't know they had a nest up down just right down here. They've had a nest on my property before. So this pair, I don't know how old the pair is, but there's been a pair of hawks on this property, or, you know, my neighbor over here, very fewer trees than I got on my side, and they have a tendency to like oak trees versus pine trees. Anyway, because they got a nest in an oak tree and there's pine trees right next door. So which do they prefer? But the fact that there have been a nesting pair of hawks around my property over the years, I consider it to be a blessing, and also it strengthens my Hawkeye thing. Anyway, and let's see, an examination of the specific species of hawk and its behaviors will reveal much. For example, an osprey is sometimes referred to as a fish hawk based upon its primary diet. This magnificent bird is often mistaken for an eagle because of its nearly all white head. And we've got some huge osprey down in the swamp, not here in my backyard, but down the river a ways, there's some huge osprey nests. And they do look like eagles. But it is the only large hawk that is clear white underneath. It is the most numerous in coastal regions, as if its white breast reflects the white foam of the waters in which it hunts. Other examples are the Cooper's hawk, the goose hawk, and the sharp-skinned hawk, who feed frequently on other birds. Although they eat rodents and such, most of their food is feathered. This reflects the old idea that what you eat, you become. We do not have the space to explore all the characteristics of every hawk, but we will examine one species more closely. That species is the most numerous on its tail feathers. Only the mature red tails have this coloring. The immature also have lighter colored eyes, distinguishing them from more mature relatives. The red-tailed hawk is usually a permanent resident in an area, although occasionally it will migrate. Although incorrectly called a chicken hawk, the red-tail feeds mostly on rabbits, rodents, and snakes, and frogs down here in the swamp. It is an adaptable diet which has helped it to survive. The red-tail was often accused of and shot for killing chickens, when in reality it was one of the bird hawks, such as the Cooper's hawk. It is generally accepted red tails mate for life. So just to add that, Native folks didn't shoot hawks either. I mean, there were certain birds that they just didn't shoot, and hawks was one of them. Along with the eagles. So both of them were considered, you know, I maybe it's because of the fact that they are birds of prey that they didn't. I'm not sure. But well, for whatever medicinal, magical, warrior courage, whatever it was, they respected it enough to just not go out and just, you know, kill it.
Oh yeah. You know, I mean, I do like that thought. That's pretty cool. You know, I mean, we were looking up I never knew there were so many different types of hawks or eagles or whatever, you know, they're just all over the place.
Well, I think I've read this before, but I forgot that actually the osprey is a hawk. And because you down on the Ochlockonee River in a couple of places, there's huge power lines that go through. I mean, great big power lines, you know, and where they cross over the river kind of snakes underneath this power line, I don't know, for almost a mile. And there's a lot of swamp area that's open with no trees, but a lot of trees on either end of it kind of thing. So but they build these huge nests up in the tops of these, the big steel structures where the power lines are, but they put them right over the river. It's just like, how convenient. Just look out of the nest and, and see if there's anything, fishing below. So.
Yeah, because those osprey nests, they're huge. I mean, I don't know where they get these, and I don't know if you ever seen an eagle's nest, but
I have, well, maybe, but I think what I've seen was actually an osprey's nest.
Oh, okay.
These things they're huge.
Well, when I lived in Wisconsin, we used to go riding down by the river. There was a big horse park down there where you could go riding, and so we'd ride down in the probably places where people didn't really go a lot. And I found an eagle's nest, and we were riding along, and there's this huge white pine tree. I mean, it was huge. It was so big around to take 3 people to wrap your arms around it. And you look up, and we weren't thinking about it, but we look up, and right at the top of that tree, instead of having that, big tree, because I was like so impressed with this huge tree, and I look at the top, and there's this big giant nest up there, and that's where he had his nest, was on the top of that gigantic, ginormous tree. But
now
that was pretty good.
I burnt out the about 3.5 acres in the backyard on Saturday, and as I was going through Sunday to to survey the damage, I looked up at the pine tree, and there was one that, again, they took this whole limb and turned it into a nest. I mean, it's just, this where the green pine tree should be is just all woven around it. It's just a great big clump of green, and that ain't normal in a pine tree.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what bird's in it. I thought it might have been the hawk, but after seeing the hawk light in, and seeing the nest in the tree down here on the opposite end of the property line, I was like, oh, son of a gun. That means there's another kind of bird that has made this huge nest. Maybe a squirrel, but I don't think so. It's too elaborate. It's too big. Squirrels make smaller bundle nests in trees, This is too big to be a squirrel nest. So we'll see.
So what do we got next?
Okay, so in story time, I didn't really find anything, eagerly that kind of struck me. But if you will start kind of sort of towards the beginning of the book, I think it's 85-ish.
Okay, hang on a sec. I got to do one for Gaza Cav. Said that at one point in time, there was the biggest bird that lived in New Zealand, and it went extinct. And here it is. I think he said it was the birds of New Zealand. It was the moa. That's what I came up with. Giant bird, looks like a ostrich. Yeah, man. Or here, maybe the New Zealand eagle. I didn't know New Zealand had eagles. Look at that eagle.
Oh, that, they are some beautiful birds, let me say,
Yeah, here's oh, look at that. Maybe that's the one he was talking about. They hunted flightless 500-pound birds. That's a big ass eagle to hunt the giant emu thing looking dealy. I bet you that's what he was talking about.
I mean, if we had those running around in North America like deer, I might hunt them.
Yeah, I think people would probably people would shoot them. That's the way people operate nowadays, Oh, stop sharing.
Well, I love my neighbors who shoot the deer and eat them. They give me some, they share it. There's my other next door neighbor who I have a conversation with about once a year when they burn the property.
Yeah,
he was like, hey, if I shoot a deer, would you like some of it? And I was like, what? And he was, well, the deer, we share the land around here. The deer doesn't live just on my land. he goes, "You don't really hunt, do you?" And I said, "No, you know, when I got busted years ago, I can't have a gun." And he goes, "Well, if I shoot a deer over here, how about I give you some of it?" I
Yeah.
mean, you know, and we haven't been really friendly over all these years. They have been kind of over there, you know.
Yeah.
Our conversation, which I find very pleasant, by the way, is that we're all about 70 years old, and we look
Oh,
at each other. My other neighbor turns 70 this month. I'll be 70 in September, and it was like, you know, we've all been through a lot, and we're still here, and we can be cordial with one another. You know, I
yeah.
was the old hippie dude that lived down the lane, but after all these years, I have become part of the neighborhood, and they don't really mind me anymore. You know, I'm just so. But that's interesting. But he offered. He said, "Yeah, if I shoot a deer over here," he said, "I'll give you some of it. How about that?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, you know,
Yeah.
I'll take it."
Yeah. You ain't gonna pass that up. What story are we looking for?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got slightly off.
I got it all booted up. I just need to know what page.
Go to 85. Oops.
85.
Yeah, let me start there. I'm looking at time.
Take what you need. You know, matter. I mean, it does matter, but you know what I mean. Whatever time it takes, it takes.
85. We'll start there.
Oh, either I'm too far or I'm not too far. Only 10 pages behind now. Don't worry, we'll get there, people. This is we're on the fly in the show, right? we do it the way we do it. This is definitely the way we do it sometimes. Sometimes it could be good, and sometimes we just when grizzlies walked upright. Is that it?
Yep.
All right. I think I got this. There's screen. And there we go. Hot diggity dog, boys and girls.
All right, let me get a sip of drink.
Absolutely. I love it. We had some good stories tonight. I love the eagle thing. That was really interesting. See, every time we do a show, I learn something, and I hope everybody out there is learning something because, you know, that's what makes these shows worthwhile doing. Now, remember, everybody, in a few days, we're going to have Isby who's going to come on, and we're going to read and we're going to learn about giants. We're going to do the King Og book, and we're going to start reading that. And don't worry, this weekend, we're going to have a great show for you because we are going to do, oh, shoot, I better stop this. Hang on a second. We are going to do this book here this weekend with Nina the Mystic, and we are doing Tartaria this weekend. So be ready for that. That's Saturday's show. I got actually 3 books on that. We got the Tartaria and the Mud Flood. And I've been reading several books and learning all kinds of stuff about Tartaria. And you're going to get to learn about that. Is it fact, fiction, myth, or legend? By gosh, and you can be the decider, but I am going to give the backstory on Tartaria because I found a book that didn't say Tartaria was real. It said people got things messed up, and I've been reading that, and we'll see what Nina has to say. We'll have a good discussion on that. So be ready.
Now,
All right.
I will say this ahead of time. There is a lot of truth woven into, you know, stretched facts.
Yes.
You know, stories always have a tendency to, you know, somebody always wants to embellish on them, you know, so just keep that in mind. And I will also say that I wouldn't discount it because there's been some odd things happen on this planet, let me tell you.
Oh, this is true. The more I learn, the more I scratch my head and say, oh, you know, but then again, when you start dealing, I found out when you start dealing with hundreds of years versus maybe 1,000 years, things really start to get fuzzy. And
or 10,000 years.
Yeah, exactly. And then the fuzzier they get, it's like looking long distance, and they get fuzzier and fuzzier and fuzzier, because as I found out, and this will go with the Indian stuff too, is you got the one group that comes in and they build things up and they're doing their stuff, and then they start, that king or leader dies out, and the next guy comes in and he says, I need to do away with that leader's stuff. And he scratches his name off, or he likes the castle, put it this way. He likes the castle, the teepee, the land, the people, and everything. But he's going to do some renovation. And
Right.
he's going to scratch that. It's not John's castle. It's now Bill's castle. And then Joe conquers the land, and now it's Joe's castle. You know what I mean? We'll scratch Bill's name off. Eventually something happens, and then people forget, and then they go, well, wasn't that always Joe's castle? Yeah, it must have been Joe's castle. We'll call it Joe's castle. Well, what about Bill? And what about the other guy and the guy before him? Yeah, we don't know who they are.
Right.
And I think that's why those kings or chiefs or whoever they were, they would name their children their own name. Like, how many Queen Elizabeths has there been, or, King Edward or King Henry? Wasn't it Henry the VIII? How many Henrys are there? Which Henry? Well, it's always been King Henry. He's been around for a century or two. Well, he couldn't have lived that long, but his kids did. And then he was named Henry, and the guy after him was named Henry, and Henry, and Henry, and Henry, and Henry. Pretty soon, that's all you ever remember is Henry, right? So, on with my babbling and on with the story. And here we go. I'm going to boot this up and we'll get this going. All right. When the grizzly walked upright. It's all yours. The floor is yours. I'm going to put myself on mute so I don't make noise.
And also, the Europeans and the Chinese built large structures, and native peoples didn't. There's Serpent Mound, there's, the mound builders, but that was for the dead. We don't see anything, and you can go back 1,000 years in medieval times and name kings and queens and serfs and generals and from all different kinds of countries. You don't have a clue who was the high chief 1,000 years ago anywhere in the Americas.
Well, we do and we don't, like in the
northern
part.
It's so clearly written in European over there versus the Americas. Well, so there's stories and there's some stuff, but not like the other guys.
Yeah, well, and that's because they wrote their name in stone, and the Indians wrote their name on teepees. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing: it was also those chiefs who understood that their legacy lived on in the people.
Yes,
not in the stone.
Yes, exactly.
They didn't have to leave a monument. It wasn't necessary.
It was
totally different point of view is what I'm trying to point out.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, they lived in the moment, not for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, and I think Crazy Horse would roll over in his grave if he knew that they were carving the side of a mountain to look like him. Just saying.
Why? Probably.
All right. When grizzlies walked upright, it's the Modoc. Before there were people on the earth, the chief of the sky spirits grew tired of his home in the above world because the air was always brittle with an icy cold. So he carved a hole in the sky with a stone and pushed all the snow and the ice down below until he made a great mound that reached from the earth almost up into the sky. Today it is known as Mount Shasta. when the sky spirit took his walking stick, stepped from a cloud to the peak, and walked down the mountain. When he was about halfway to the valley below, he began to put a finger to the ground here and there and here and there. Wherever his finger touched, a tree grew. The snow melted in his footsteps, and the water ran down in rivers. The sky spirit broke off the small end of his giant stick and threw pieces into the river. The longer pieces turned into beaver and otter. The smaller pieces became fish. When the leaves dropped from the trees, he picked them up, blew upon them, and so made the birds. Then he took the big end of his giant stick and made all the animals that walked on the earth, the biggest of which were the grizzly bears. Now, when they were first made, the bears were covered with hair and had sharp claws, just as they do today, but they walked on 2 feet and could talk like people. They looked so fierce that the sky spirit sent them away from him to live in the forest at the base of the mountain. Pleased with what he'd done, the chief of the sky spirits decided to bring his family down and live on the earth himself. The mountains of snow and ice became their lodge. He made a big fire in the center of the mountain and a hole in the top so that the smoke and the sparks could fly out. When he put a big log on the fire, sparks would fly up and the earth would tremble. Volcano. Late one spring, while the sky spirit and his family were sitting around the fire, the wind spirit sent a great storm that shook the top of the mountain. It blew and blew and roared and roared. Smoke, blown back into the lodge, hurt their eyes. And finally, the sky spirit said to his youngest daughter, "Climb up to the smoke hole and ask the wind spirit to blow more gently. Tell him, I'm afraid he will blow the mountain over." As his daughter started up, her father said, "But be careful not to stick your head out at the top. If you do, the wind may catch you by the hair and blow you away." The girl hurried to the top of the mountain and stayed well inside the smoke hole as she spoke to the wind spirit. As she was about to climb back down, she remembered that her father had once said that you could see the ocean from the top of their lodge. His daughter wondered what the ocean looked like, and her curiosity got the better of her. She poked her head up out of the hole and turned toward the west, but before she could see anything, the wind spirit caught her by her long hair, pulled her out of the mountain, and blew her down over the snow and ice. She landed among the scrubby fir trees at the edge of the timber and the snow line, her long red hair trailing over the snow. There, a grizzly bear found the little girl when he was out hunting food for his family. He carried her home with him, and his wife brought her up with the family of cubs. The little red-haired girl and the cubs ate together, played together, and grew up together. When she became a young woman, she and the eldest son of the grizzly bears were married. In the years that followed, they had many children who were not as hairy as the grizzlies, yet did not look exactly like their spirit mother either. All the grizzly bears throughout the forest were so proud of these new creatures that they made a lodge for the red-haired mother and her children. They placed the lodge near Mount Shasta. It is called Little Mount Shasta today. After many years had passed, the mother grizzly bear knew that she would soon die. Fearing that she should ask the chief of the sky spirits to forgive her for keeping his daughters, she gathered all the grizzlies at the lodge they had built. Then she sent her oldest grandson in a cloud to the top of Mount Shasta to tell the spirit chief where he could find his long-lost daughter. When the father got this news, he was so glad that he came down the mountainside in giant strides, melting the snow and tearing up the land under his feet. Even today, his tracks can be seen in the rocky path on the south side of Mount Shasta. As he neared the lodge, he called out, "Is this where my little daughter lives?" He expected his child to look exactly as she had when he saw her last. When he found a grown woman instead and learned that the strange creatures she was taking care of were his grandchildren, he became very angry. A new race had been created that was not of his making. He frowned on the old grandmother so sternly that she promptly fell dead. Then he cursed all the grizzlies. "Get down on your hands and knees. You have wronged me. And from this moment, all of you will walk on all fours and never talk again." He drove his grandchildren out of the lodge, put his daughter over his shoulder, and climbed back up the mountainside. Never again did he come to the forest. Some say that he put out the fire in the center of his lodge and took his daughter back up to the sky to live. Those strange creatures, his grandchildren, scattered and wandered over the earth. They were the first Indians, the ancestors of all the Indian tribes. That's why the Indians living around Mount Shasta would never kill a grizzly bear. Whenever a grizzly killed an Indian, his body was burned on the spot. And for many years, all who passed that way cast a stone there until a great pile of stones marked the place of his death. Reported by Ella Clark in 1953. Short and to the point, but you know, that's how they looked at it out there. Let's see, I had another story. Hang on a second. The kind of, how much time we got? Let's go to page 104, 105, please. There were a couple of other stories in between, but I may have read this previously, but it kind of sort of connects a little bit with the last story. Earth making. It's Cherokee. The Cherokee are one of the very few Indian tribes who conceive of the sun as female. This version is unusual for the Cherokee because it refers to the sun as he. Now, we've skipped a couple of stories, so but from a Western tradition to Eastern tradition, okay, one side of the United States to the other. Earth making, Cherokee. Earth is floating on the waters like a big island, hanging from 4 rawhide ropes fastened at the top of the sacred 4 directions. The ropes are tied to the ceiling of the sky, which is made of hard rock crystal. When the ropes break, this world will come tumbling down, and all living things will fall with it and die. Then everything will be as if Earth had never existed, for water will cover it. Maybe the white man will bring this about. Well, in the beginning also, water covered everything. Though living creatures existed, their home was up there, above the rainbow, and it was crowded. We were all jammed together, the animals said. We need more room. Wondering what was under the water, they sent Water Beetle to look around. Water beetle skimmed over the surface, but he couldn't find anything solid. He couldn't find any solid footing, so he dived down to the bottom and brought up a little dab of soft mud. Magically, the mud spread out in the 4 directions and became this island we were living on, this earth. Someone powerful then fastened it to the sky ceiling with cords. In the beginning, the earth was flat, soft, and moist. All the animals were eager to live on it, and they kept sending down birds to see if the mud had dried and hardened enough to take their weight. But the birds all flew back and said that there was still no spot that they could perch on. Then the animals sent Grandfather Buzzard down. He flew very close and saw that the earth was still soft, but when he glided low over what would become Cherokee country, he found that the mud was getting harder. By that time, Buzzard was getting tired and dragging. When he flapped his wings down, they made a valley where they touched the earth. When he swept them up, they made a mountain. The animals, watching from the above rainbow, said, "If he keeps on, there will be only mountains." And they made him come back. That's why we have so many mountains in Cherokee land. At last, the earth was hard and dry enough, and the animals descended. They couldn't see very well because they had no sun or moon. And someone said, "Let's grab sun from up there behind the rainbow. Let's get him down too." Pulling sun down, they told him, "Here's a road for you." And they showed him the way to go from east to west. Now they had light, but it was much too hot because the sun was too close to the earth. The crawfish had his back sticking out of a stream, and the sun burned it red. His meat was spoiled forever, and the people still won't eat crawfish. Well, that ain't true, but everyone asked the sorcerers and shamans to put sun higher. They pushed him up as high as a man, but it was still too hot. So they pushed him farther, but it wasn't far enough. They tried 4 times, and when they had sun up to the height of 4 men, it was just hot enough. Everyone was satisfied, so they left him there. Before making humans, someone powerful had created plants and animals and had told them to stay awake and watch for 7 days and 7 nights. This is just what young men do today when they fast and prepare for a ceremony. But most of the plants and animals couldn't manage it. Some fell asleep after 1 day, some after 2 days, some after 3. Among the animals, only the owl and the mountain lion were still awake after 7 days and nights. That's why they were given the gift of seeing in the dark, so they could hunt at night. Among the trees and other plants, only the cedar, the pine, the holly, and the laurel were still awake on the 8th morning. Someone powerful said to them, "Because you watched the sky and kept awake as you have been told, you will not lose your hair in the winter." So these plants stay green all the time. After creating plants and animals, someone powerful made a man and his sister. The man poked her with a fish and told her to give birth. After 7 days, she had a baby, and after 7 days more, she had another. And that someone powerful, and every 7 days, another came. The humans increased so quickly that someone powerful, thinking that there would soon be no more room on this earth, arranged things so that a woman could only have 1 child every year. And that's how it was. Now there is still another world under the one we live on. You can reach it by going down a spring, a water hole, but you need underworld people to be your scouts and guide you. The world under our earth is exactly like ours, except that it's winter down there when it's summer up here. We can see that easily because spring water is warmer than the air in winter and cooler than the air in summer. Told us at a Cherokee Treaty Council meeting, New York City, 1975. Now, my addendum to that last little paragraph in this story is that, you know, there are many stories of, you know, people's living inside the earth, hollow earth. Now, many years ago in Cades Cove, Tennessee, which is on the Tennessee side of the Great Smoky Mountains, and on the other side of the mountain is North Carolina, okay? In Cades Cove, in one of the houses where the settlers had come back in the 1700s and 1800s and settled in this valley, Cades Cove in Tennessee. If you've never been, it's worth the trip, especially with the elk that come out in the mornings and the evenings and beller. But in one of the houses, I have pictures somewhere because I was in that house. Now, it was on the news, and the U.S. Forest Service, something had happened in this house, and the flooring was bad or something, and they checked and looked, and under the floor of this house was an entrance to a cave into the mountains of North Carolina where the Cherokee lived.
Wow.
It had been there for, they don't know how long the cave has been there. They don't know where, you know, and this house has been sitting. I've been to Cades Cove 8 or 9 times. I've been in, they have little houses around and you can go in them and walk around and all, you know. I've got pictures and video way back before there was digital. And I'm like, and when they showed this house on the news, I went, what? Here's the thing. The Cherokee have told stories about how they, you know, their relatives were underground. And so how did they survive those winters? How did they survive in that area in Cherokee, North Carolina, which is right next to Cades Cove, okay? So part of the mountain system. They have not spoken of the cave system since.
Wow.
They found it. It's under the entrance under the house, and that was that. Not another word. Well, you know, I mean, come on. Anyway, so, but some of the old stories were that they lived in the mountain during the winter. And how and where the mountain was. And I would love to go back up to Cades Cove and go spelunking. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. So, but anyway, I find it interesting from the stories that, you know, you can go underground, but you need a guide.
Yeah.
In this story. And then there was physical evidence of holes in the ground in the Cherokee Mountains that the Indians and the pioneers used. You know what I mean? What? So, but anyway, legends or truth, you know, when they find proof of caves and stuff, you got to scratch your head and go,
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, you know, all that stuff. Like I was reading some stuff about how there was trees out there that were so big that, you know, you could put your cows and people lived inside the tree because it was so hot, you know, big and hollow that you could fit your whole family in there and live in the tree. And, you know, this was true. Washington wrote about it. There was tons of these trees. And then, of course, they cut them all down, you know, so, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, it was good. That was good. Okay, we're getting we got enough time if you want to pull a card. We're about an hour and a half. It'll be 10:30. Oh, you got you got the hawk card.
Raven.
Oh, okay. It looked like a hawk. I'm like a hawk on the brain.
But it was a bird.
It was a bird.
You know, I was like, now I did it just as we were getting started and as you were reading about the hawk and stuff. And I thought, well, to save just a little bit of time, I'll go ahead and pull a card. And it was Raven. And I thought, well, at the moment, it seems appropriate because it's a bird. Number one, right?
Absolutely.
And we're talking birds. So anyway, so Raven number 16 Oh, and I went almost exactly to the page.
Wow.
Magic.
It is. It is.
No, I mean, that's for the raven. It's magic.
Oh.
The magic of raven is magic.
Yeah, we've talked about Raven quite a few times, you know, in stories and stuff. You know, he's kind of a trickster. Yeah.
Yeah, in some ways, absolutely. And the raven, for them folks up the Tlingit, the raven is like their creator. He Raven brought stuff, and Raven, you know, brought this and that, and is, you know, like high up on literally the totem pole.
Yep.
Okay, so Raven, number 16, magic. Raven, black as pitch, mystical as the moon. Speak to me of magic. I will fly with you soon. Throughout time, Raven has carried the medicine of magic. This has been true in many cultures across the planet. It is sacred in the medicine ways to honor Raven as the bringer of magic. If the magic is bad medicine, the carrier may be honored out of fear rather than out of respect. Those who fear Raven may do so because they have been dabbling in areas which they had no knowledge, and a spell may have backfired on them. Rather than analyzing the dark side of sorcery, realize that you will fear Raven only if you need to learn about your inner fears or self-created demons. People need to listen to that, because there are folks now that I have been paying attention to that are creating their own demons. Yeah, there's a problem out there, but they obsess on it so much that they actually create some of these things. They actually, I think they manifest them because they fear them so much, and it gets in their head and their psyche. They won't talk about anything else, but
you're your own worst enemy.
Raven magic is a powerful medicine that can give you the courage to enter the darkness of the void, which is the home of all that is not yet in form. So the great, whatever ain't existing yet, it's all out there. The void is called the great mystery. Great mystery existed before all other things came into being. Think about that. I mean, something had to come out of nothing. It was the great mystery. There was always something. Great spirit lives inside the void and emerged from the great mystery. Raven is the messenger of the void. So you could say also the messenger of great spirit. If Raven appears in your spread, you are about to experience a change in consciousness. So y'all hang on to your helmets. This may involve walking inside the great mystery on another path at the edge of time. It would pretend to have a signal brought by the raven that says, you have earned the right to see and experience a little more of life's magic. Raven's color is the color of the void, the black hole in space that holds all the energy of the creative source. In native teaching, the color black means many things, but it does not mean evil. Black can mean the seeking of answers, the void, or the road of the spiritual or the non-physical. The blue-black of Raven contains an iridescence that speaks of the magic of darkness and the changeability of form and shape that brings an awakening in the process. Raven is the guardian of ceremonial magic and in absentia healing. In other words, in absence. In any healing circle, Raven is present. Raven guides the magic of healing and the change in consciousness that will bring about a new reality and dispel the disease or the illness. Raven brings in the new state of wellness from the void of the great mystery and the field of plenty. Raven is the messenger that carries all energy flows of ceremonial magic between the ceremony itself and the intended destination. So if you want to heal somebody, ask Raven to carry your healing. For instance, if a ceremony is being performed to send energy to a disaster area where people need courage and strength, Raven would be the courier for that energy flow. The intention would be to allow the people of the devastated area to feel the concern and the support of the participants in the ceremony. So if you've chosen Raven, magic is in the air. Do not try to figure it out. You cannot. It is the power of the unknown at work, and something special is about to happen. The deeper mystery, however, is how you will respond to the sparkling synchronicity of this alchemical moment. That sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, but you know, it's sort of the synchronicity. And you go, like, for example, was talking with Elderberry a week or so ago about bees, and I get a visit from one of my you know, extended family, and her and her daughter went to a beekeeping thing, and I've been talking about, and so we want to start beekeeping here on the property. And that's like a magical synchronicity that just kind of happened. It's like that. Can you accept, let's see. The deeper mystery, however, is how you will respond to that synchronicity of this alchemical moment. So the alchemical is like the brain process and whatever. Will you recognize it and use it to further enhance your growth? Can you accept it as a gift from the Great Spirit? Or will you limit your power of the great mystery by explaining it away? In other words, oh, it didn't really happen. Oh, you know, nah, that's it. No, it may be time to call Raven as a courier to carry an intention, some healing energy, a thought, or a message. Raven is the patron of smoke signals or spirit messages represented by smoke. So if you're doing a pipe ceremony, you can think of Raven when you're doing the pipe ceremony. So if you want to send a message to the Blue Road of Spirit in order to contact the ancients, call Raven. Or who knows, the ancients may be calling you. Remember, this magic moment came from the void of darkness, and the challenge is to bring it to light. In doing so, you will have honored the magic within. Not a bad message. I mean, considering the medicine of eagle and so forth, and you know, I think we're batting up, you know, 1,000 as far as cards pulled and topics. You know, I couldn't literally flip through the cards and pick one that would fit. And it seems like every time, I know I'm certain, it sounds like I'm giving myself a pat on the back. No, I'm actually really surprised.
Yeah, well, you know,
I'm actually amazed, y'all.
The cards don't lie, man. The cards don't lie.
Well, every time it's like, wow, there's another one.
Yep, every time.
Well, it's made it an hour and a half.
Yes. Let's see. What was these things? I wanted to say too. We got Lucky Smith. It said exactly about Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse never wanted to be a photograph. He would never want a statue. He wanted to stay natural. A better dedication would be to keep his land natural.
Right.
And Mount Shasta is a volcano.
Yes.
So that was another thing I wanted to say. And Brandy Robinson says all birds are messengers. And she says, start a worm bed for fertilizer as well. There you go.
Yeah, that's true. And it's really good for fertilizer too. And if you get in a pinch, you could eat the worms, but you could also use the worms to fish with.
Oh, here you go. Brandy Robinson says blackbirds are the only ones that use sign language. They literally script in the sand to each other. Well, I did not know that, and that's why we have some of the best, smartest people in our audience, I swear. So thank you all for that. And by gosh, we hit an hour already, or hour and a half already. And with that, we're going to let you go because I am on call and I need to get to sleep and I'm working tomorrow. So, you know, us hardworking people, we got to get some sleep.
And that's hardworking retired people would just no.
We're gonna do a show.
It's an hour and a half instead of an hour and 45. So we're trying to keep it shorter.
Yeah, you gonna do a show tonight?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So go over to David's channel and log
Go
in
get some
to get,
drink and walk around and
yeah, what, 20 minutes, half hour, something like that.
yeah.
And then the rest of the night.
No, I don't know about that, but you know, I'm
At
we'll hang
least
out with folks. So yeah,
all right. And Lucky Smith prophesizes I'm prospering. We're all prospering together. Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, Poyel. Thank you, Milky Way Soul Tribe. And thank you, Lucky Smith, for all of that. We are prospering. We are the Soul Tribe. And with that, be the frequency you want to receive, people. I love you all. Thank you for coming.
You are the Soul Tribe.
That's right. We are the Soul Tribe.
Yep.
And we are prospering, and we are being the frequency we want to receive.
Cheers.
All right. Love you all. Peace, everybody.